Shalom, friends. Welcome to another shiur. This shiur here in Mesilat Yesharim, the path of the just, written by the Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Lutzato of the 18th century, the great Kabbalist. We're learning this Musar SOFER, considered a classic by anybody's standard. Musar teaches us the way to improve ourselves, to grow, and to realize what life is about on a more serious level than most of us live our lives. I'm Eliyahu Shir, coming to you from Chesed Ve'emet, from the holy city of Yerushalayim, and my website can be found on www.lovingkindness.co. As always, please feel free to be in touch with me, and I'll be delighted to be in touch with you. So we're on chapter 1, and Baruch Hashem, we're coming to the end. What we've learned so far is we're discussing the man's obligation in the world. That's our chapter that we're dealing with. And we've come to realize that man is put into this world for a higher task than just taking a part in all of the physical, I'll say, vanities of the world. Vanities referring to things that just help us pass the time. Many people know that type of expression. How often is it that we're sitting around somewhere and we have the opportunity, perhaps we could study some Torah, and it's perhaps 4 o'clock on a Sunday, outside of Israel, of course. In Israel, Sunday is an ordinary work day, and it's 4 o'clock, it's tea time, let's say, and instead of opening up some SOFER and learning how to grow, develop ourselves and become closer to Hashem, we say, well, I feel a bit bored. What shall I do with myself? We need to do something. Let's watch a movie. Let's go to the restaurant. Let's relax. Let's talk about nonsense, trivial talk, whatever it is. Well, all of these things are against the principles of what Musar is about. Musar is about working on ourselves. And as man's obligation in the world is concerned, we have to see our role as achieving a goal before we leave this world. We're here on the stage, so to speak. We're here in the corridor, so to speak, waiting to enter into the palace. And just as it is that the king invites many people to the main party, so to speak, and he says, please, everybody should be ready. Please get dressed up in your fine clothes and so on and so forth. Well, the person who starts walking through the corridor, making his way, meanwhile, he's dressed up in his average general garments. Perhaps he's dressed up in his beach garments. That's how he would go to the beach, let's say. And he says to himself, you know, when I get to the palace of the king, I guess when they let me in for the main meal, I guess I'll put on my finest garments. Well, we all know nobody does that. What we do is before we approach the king's palace, we put on the finest garments, we put on the finest deodorants and perfumes, and the ladies will put on the finest makeup, whatever, everything has to be just right. We don't want anything out of place as we approach the king's palace. This world is the corridor, and we're preparing to enter the palace, and we need to put the right garments on. Well, the Ramchal is telling us what these garments are. He's telling us how to prepare ourselves and dress up so that we can enter the palace and we'll be ready for the feast. This is what he said as we ended off last week. Thus it is proper that all of a man's inclination be solely to the blessed Creator, and that all of his actions, great or small, have no other purpose than to draw closer to God, blessed be he, and to break down all the barriers separating him from his master, which are all the matters of physicality and the things dependent on them, until he is drawn towards the blessed God, like iron is drawn to a magnet. Then we said, "V'kol ma sheyuchal lachshov, shehu emtza'i lekorva hazot," and everything that one thinks, everything that one can think, that it will be a means to becoming closer, in drawing closer, in making this thing happen. Yirdof acharav, a person should pursue it. V'yechozbo, and he should hold on to it. V'lo yarpehu, and not let go of it. Wherever we see the opportunity to get that better garment, to prepare ourselves for the main feast. Wherever we see this opportunity to get hold of that better deodorant that will make us smell better for the feast, so to speak, that we really walk into this palace and people say, look, this person has prepared himself for the honor of the king. That is better. And wherever we see an opportunity like this, we say, I will not let go of it. I want to grab this opportunity. The sale is on. Let me not lose out on the opportunity to gain what I'm able to prepare myself for the palace. Well known is the story of the very poor man who was told that if he wants to make a good living, he should go to a faraway country, far off. And this country is known for its diamonds. And while he is there, he should collect all the diamonds that he's able to. And he should come back and he'll be a wealthy man. And the man begins to talk to his family about the story. Should he go and collect the diamonds? What do they think? They tell him, you're very poor. But if they tell you that there are diamonds in this faraway land, then go ahead, take the trip. We'll do without you for some months, whatever it takes, years, however long it takes. Go ahead and collect the diamonds. And the family are happy to let go of him. And he goes on this long journey. Takes him a couple of months to get to his location. Eventually, when he arrives, he gets let off. The ship lets him off on this particular island. And he looks around and he sees, hey, he says to himself, there are diamonds everywhere. He says, I better fill up my pockets with all the diamonds and prepare for when I need to go back. And he begins to stuff his pockets with all of these diamonds. And he continues more and more and more and more. And the days go by. He gets more and more. Anyway, as the days go by, he starts to say to himself, well, what do I want all this for? Let me just sit here and relax. Let me take care of life as it is. There's so many diamonds in any case. He begins to empty out all the diamonds. He's not really interested in it. There's so many diamonds anyway. You can get diamonds by the dozen here. A dime a dozen, they say. A diamond a dozen. Whatever it is, it's all available. And he begins to empty out his pockets. And the days and the months and the years go by. And he thinks to himself, well, isn't it time that I return back to my town where I'll be able to be a successful merchant once again? And as he does so, he says, you know, there are some diamonds here. Maybe I should just take a couple of diamonds with me. While I'm here, they look pretty nice, but they're all over the show. I don't think anybody will need them. So he puts a few diamonds in his pockets. He takes the ship back, comes home. The family greet him. Well, they say, did you collect all these diamonds? He says, look here, I got some diamonds here. They say, that's wonderful. You've got 2 or 3 beautiful diamonds. That's all that there was? He says, no. There were diamonds all over the show. There were so many diamonds, I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't even realize how many diamonds there were. And I said to myself, life was so good on the islands. I was just enjoying life while I was there. I said, are you mad? You were put into a place of diamonds to bring back to us so that you become a multi-billionaire over here. You'd be able to take care of us. And you squandered it. You forgot what you were there for. And so too, the soul is put into this world to gather all the diamonds. And they're a dime a dozen. Wherever you look, there are diamonds all over. What are the diamonds? These are the mitzvahs. These are the Torah. This is the Torah we can learn. The mitzvahs that we can perform. And we can prepare ourselves in this corridor so that we'll have the finest garments as we enter into the world to come, as we enter into the palace, well prepared. But what do the majority of us do? We see the mitzvahs all around. This man is asking for charity. That man is asking for charity. And there's so many mitzvahs around. What do? We tell the poor man, go away from us. There's so many people that are poor. Leave me alone. And to the next one again, and to the next one again. And we have the means to help them, but we say, get a job. It's not for me to help you. What do I need this for? There's so many poor people. What do I need all these mitzvahs for? When the person leaves the world and is about to enter into the palace, they look at his garments. What does he come with? The mitzvahs make up all these garments and prepare him for this world. And instead he says, but I didn't realize. But when they sent him down into this world, they told him beforehand, those mitzvahs, you're going to find them wherever you look. Take them wherever you can find them and bring them back with you. And what does he do instead? He squanders it. He shouts at the mitzvah. Get away from me, he says. I've got enough of you already. When the time comes for me to leave this world, I'll do 1 or 2 more good things. And that's all I need to do. For the rest of you, get jobs. Take care of yourself. And whatever the mitzvah is, that's only one example. Then the person leaves the world, and when he arrives, they say, well, where's your beautiful coat? Where's your garment, your beautiful hat? And he asks, well, what do you mean? They say, you would have got that beautiful garment if you'd given that poor man some charity. But you shouted at him. He said, but they were all over the show. They said, that's right. In that world down there, the mitzvahs were all over the show to help you over here. But instead, you squandered it all. And as a result, you threw it all away. And now you come here, you don't have a hat. You don't have a nice coat. It's all lacking. What will we do with you? So the Mesilat Yesharim is telling us we have an obligation in this world. The soul is in this world to pick up the diamonds. We need to bring the diamonds and the beautiful garments with us so that we can enter the palace prepared for the feast. Whenever we see an opportunity, says the Mesilat Yesharim, grab it and don't let go of it. And when we see anything that goes against it, somebody says, you don't really need to give that person. You don't need to give that person anything. Let him take care of himself. He got himself into that difficulty. He needs to take care of himself. Can you help him? Sure you can. But you need to have this type of a love which says, I'm going to prevent myself from helping you, all in the name of love, we say. But really, at the back of our minds, we say, why can't he take care of himself? It is not for me to do. And yet God is saying, did you think that was the case? I gave that man to you so that by giving to him, you would gather the diamonds, and you lost the opportunity. You lost it, and it was there in your hands. And everything that a person will feel, that thinks that it's going to prevent him from this particular thing. In other words, this goal of cleaving to Hashem, of attaining this closeness, of fulfilling these mitzvot, the obligation in the world. A person should flee from it, like one flees from fire. Like it says, a pasuk in Tehillim, chapter Samach Gimel 63, Dafka nafshi acharecha, my soul cleaves after you, God. Be tamcha yeminecha, to me, your right hand supports me. I am cleaving towards you, God. My soul desires to be close to you, to cleave and experience what it's like to touch the divine. Because the whole purpose that a person comes into this world is only for this particular purpose. He enters this world to develop that closeness on his own. He must do it now. The soul is always connected to Hashem. We don't need to come down into this world to connect to Hashem. The soul is always connected to Hashem. But now God has a plan for us. He wants us to work on ourselves to develop that desire to cleave back with Hashem, to cleave to Hashem, that we attain it on our own, that we do not experience as the Torah teaches us, the bread of embarrassment, that there is a concept that a person who gives to somebody and he did nothing to deserve it at all, nothing at all, feels a sense of embarrassment. And so God has the soul cleaving to it in the higher worlds, but the soul feels this measure of embarrassment. And God says, then go down into the testing ground. And in the testing ground, you will experience many tests that will say to you, you don't really need to cleave to me after all. You will feel, why do I even need to cleave to God? Maybe he's not even there. But if you can pass those tests, says God, you will cleave to me and you will receive that wonderful reward, which is ultimately God himself, without the feeling of embarrassment. Suddenly there's this cleaving to God, being sucked in by the divine, experience the warmth of God, without having to feel a sense of embarrassment, as if God is giving it to him gratis, that he did nothing to deserve it. Suddenly the soul desires to deserve to be cleaving to Hashem. The Hainu, which means la sigesa kirva, in order to attain the closeness, hazois, this closeness, by letting his soul flee from everything that prevents it and everything that will cause it a loss, so that it won't be able to achieve this goal. We come now to the final words of chapter 1, where the Mesilat Yesharim is taking us on this journey of how to cleave to Hashem, how to grow correctly. V'hinei, behold, achar sheyadanu, after we know, v'hisbarer etzleinu, and it becomes clear to us. We need to meditate. We need to contemplate. It needs to be clear in our minds that this is the goal that we've set ourselves on in this world, that this world isn't just a world of ice creams and chocolates, but rather there is a higher goal ahead of us. The Hitparetz Leinu becomes clear to us, Amitas HaKlal Hazeh, this truthful rule. Yesh lanu lachkor, now we can investigate, al pratav, on all its particular things. Lefi madregosehim, according to the different levels. Mitchilas hadavar, from the beginning of this thing, v'ad sofo, until its end. Kamo shesidran Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, as it was that Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, the father-in-law of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, this great Tana, this great teacher of Torah, as he ordered the teachings so that we can walk along this path to grow in the right direction, b'ma'amar shelo, in his teaching, sheheveinu kvar b'akdamasenu, as we already brought in our introduction, v'hem, and these are the levels, these are the stepping stones, these are the paths that we are going to have to travel in order to reach our goal. What are they? Hazirot, which means to be careful, watch out. Hazrizut, to be enthusiastic, alacrity, filled with energy to serve Hashem. Hanikiyot, cleanliness, a higher level. It's not just refraining from the bad and not just doing the good, but we clean ourselves up. We get our acts together. Everything is just perfect. We put the soap on. You put the shampoo on. There's a real cleanliness going on here. Haprishut. We move then to a level of separation where we pull ourselves away from those things that hold us back from achieving this goal. After all, just like it is in marriage, if a person wants to get married, he must separate himself from the rest of the crowd. A man is going to marry a woman. Well, once he does that, he needs to separate himself from all the relationships of all the other ladies. And a woman wants to marry a man, she needs to separate herself from all the other boyfriends that she's had along the way so that she can cleave to her husband. Separateness. We must separate ourselves away from those physical things that will keep us glued to this world. And by the separation, so to speak, we become married. We connect with God. Hatahara, the next level, purity. We've got to purify ourselves, just like in marriage also. As though we separate ourselves for our marriage partners, but we take it one step further. Even within the marriage itself, there is the aspect of purity. Indeed, we fulfill the laws of family purity. Taharat mishpacha. Even within the marriage, we must purify our intimate connection with our spouse through all the laws. So we move to the next level now. Tahara, purity. Hachasidut, then piety. We move to a higher level. Then ha'anava, humility. Humility takes position number 7 on the list. As I always say to people, everybody's walking around. They think they're very humble. Look at me, everybody. I'm humble. You stati, the fee stati, in my humble opinion. Many times Torah scholars speak in this way. They went, oh, I'm so humble, and I would dare not express my opinion. But in my humble opinion, this is what I feel. Well, one can speak about things in that way if one has attained all of these levels. If indeed one has gone through the Zehiros, the Zrizos, the Nikios, the Precious, the Tara, and the Chasidus, then one can start achieving levels of humility. Until then, if people think that they're working on their levels of humility before anything else, they're making a big mistake. Before one can attain humility, one has to have attained all of these levels before. Yiras hachet, fear of sin, Kedusha, and holiness. These were all the levels that we spoke about. And ultimately we said, after a person now has got to fear sin, after all these different levels, he comes to learn what it means to fear sin. He then goes to another level of true holiness, like the big tzaddikim, who are holy. How do you become holy? By following this entire path, by being careful, by doing good, by being clean, by cleansing oneself, by separating oneself, by purifying oneself, by becoming pious, by becoming humble, by fearing sin. And after all this, one becomes holy to Hashem. Holiness is a goal that takes a real lifetime. And now we conclude. Now we're going to explain them one at a time, b'siyata dishmaya, with the help of heaven. Again, the words of the Ramchal as he ends off teach us the secret behind everything. Everything is with siyata dishmaya. We need God's help to achieve these goals. And now the Ramchal is going to take us into chapter 2, where we're going to speak about this chapter of zehirut, of being careful, and how we work on ourselves to realize what exactly is this trait all about. And thereafter we will move on to all the other levels. We've reached the end of this shiur. Thank you very much for joining me. This shiur is a really shorter shiur. It gives us the opportunity to take a few aspects and work on them, think about them, grow with them, and then move to the next level, instead of making the shiur too long. And it could be that people find they can't follow it, so we make it as a shorter shiur, giving people the opportunity to hear just a few ideas to take with us until the next week, where we can grow even further with further ideas. So thanks for joining me. I'm Eliyahu Sher from Chesed Ve'emet, broadcasting from the holy city of Yerushalayim. My site can be found on www.lovingkindness.co, and I would be happy to be in touch with you. Please feel free to send me an email, and let's see how we can get together if indeed you would like to make a connection. If you've enjoyed this video, learned something from it, got something out of it, please like the video, give it the thumbs up by clicking on the like button. Also, to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and to click on the bell button to be notified of future shiurim. And please feel free to make a comment in the comment section below, where I can respond to it. If you have a question, an insight that you'd like to share, please feel free to put something over there, and I'd be delighted to respond. Please share this video with your family and friends and let them know what we're doing. We do need your help, so please become involved in our activities. Check out the site, and if you're able to, please become a partner by giving something over to us that will help us to continue these activities. The videos, we need hardware, we need software, we need the time to produce it, and of course everything is offered totally free. So with your help, we'll be able to do even more, and indeed we would like to do even more shiurim, with more opportunity for people to join and to learn all areas of Torah. So with your help, we'll be able to continue. In the meantime, I wish you everything of the best. I look forward to another shiur in the near future, and I wish you shalom, shalom, bye-bye.